Well, hello everyone, and thank you for joining us for the Financial Coach Master Training Informational Webinar. My name is Chris Campbell, the Director of Financial Coaching, and I'm joined today by Bill Lowe, our Senior Director of Financial Coaching. Guys, we are super excited to be with you here as we head into Easter weekend. Tomorrow is Good Friday. A lot of people are going to be hanging out with family, having good meals and stuff like that. So what better way to kick that off than to learn about coach training? And this is a big deal for us. Guys, we have about 2,700 people registered for this webinar. And another thing that we're celebrating, not as important as Easter, but is also a big deal in the financial world, is this is Financial Literacy Month. This is the month that our government, which is kind of ironic, has set aside to focus in on personal financial behavior and how we handle our money. So that's what schools are doing. That's what we're doing. And so we have a pretty big thing going on. We're giving away some good prizes for folks that register for our webinar. So today we're going to be giving away an enrollment to Financial Coach Master Training. And then we're also going to give away a leader material for Financial Peace University. So for some of you guys out there that want to lead that class, whatever that may look like, we're going to give away one of those as well. So we got a little over $2,000 worth of stuff that we're going to be giving away today. Really excited about that. Right after our Q&A is when we're going to do that giveaway. So make sure and hang in there with us. So again, we're going to be doing a Q&A. So at the bottom of your screen, there's a little question bubble. Make sure and click on that. And that will allow you to ask questions in to our team here. We're going to read those aloud at the Q&A portion. Make sure and, again, stick around for that because that's where a lot of people ask really great questions. We'll probably go about 45, 50 minutes today for you guys that are trying to plan that out. So, again, just really excited. So, Bill, I'm going to let you kind of jump right on in and get this party started.
Thank you, Chris. Hey, everybody, this is Bill. I am super excited to have a chance to hang out with you. I guess it'd be a virtual hangout here from Nashville for whatever neck of the United States or the world that you're in. But Chris and I are very appreciative that you have carved out some time in your valuable day to learn a little bit more about financial coach training, what it is, how it works, and why you might want to consider joining us on this mission. As Chris mentioned, this is actually the end of our work week. Dave has very graciously agreed to give us Good Friday off tomorrow, so we're going to hit it hard the rest of the day. Then we'll have a long weekend here. Hope your Easter weekend is special in numerous ways. So let's get at it. I'm going to kind of start big picture and kind of cast where we are as a nation financially, and then Chris will quickly get us down in the weeds in terms of the core aspects of financial coach training. So, as I'm prone to say, let's giddy up and get after it. So, here we are in April of 2019. If you really think about it, we're 11-ish years past the start of the Great Recession back in 2008. And, here's the thing. Things are not perfect in America economically today. But you really would have to be pretty obstinate not to acknowledge that they're pretty good. When you think in terms of 50-year low unemployment rate, when you think of wage gains, very strong, college grad job market, very strong, near historic low interest rates, near historic low inflation, stock market near an all-time high. Things aren't perfect for sure, but they're pretty good. But here's the thing. It seems like a lot of people, now I'm always very careful here not to paint with too broad of a brush and say most people or everybody. It's not true, number one. It's not fair. But at least a lot of people, it really feels like, haven't learned a heck of a lot about how to manage their personal finances over these past 11 years. When you think in terms of the average car note today, $32,500, stretched out over 6 years. All those fancy cars you see on the highway in your neighborhood and at work in your parking lot are financed out on average at 6 years. 25% of them are financed out to 7 years. It wasn't that long ago that the thought of a 5-year car note freaked everybody out. We're out to 6, a quarter of the time out to 7 years now. In America today, there are 7 million people that are at least 90 days past due on their car note. That's 1 million people more than the previous high water mark on that stat back in 2011. Average student today graduating with, on average, $50,000 of student loan debt. Again, things aren't perfect, but it's not a pretty picture. So I'm going to take us through pretty quickly 3 data points that are really going to drive this point home in terms of where we are, where the average American, if you will, is with his or her personal finances. So let's get going. Data point number one, today in America, 7 out of 10 couples are not budgeting consistently. Now, here's why that's a big problem. You can make a really strong argument that if you're not budgeting consistently, if you're not, as Dave Ramsey says, telling your money what to do on paper, on purpose at the beginning of the month, it's just flat out going to be hard for you to win with money consistently going forward. It's just that foundational skill set that you have to manage that cash flow. And if you don't have that, if you struggle with that, it's just going to be hard for you to win. Data point number two. Today in America, almost 70%, 69% of Americans today would struggle to pay for a $1,000 emergency.
Yeah, that's correct. No, and that's something that we're seeing a lot of people that are dealing with their issues of going, man, I couldn't even cover a $400 issue, that comes up, right? And life just happens. I mean, just a few weeks ago, my wife just bumped into somebody the other day, and it was $500 to fix a little dent. We had our our dryer went out, and man, that just happened overnight, right? And these things that feel like emergencies are really just massive inconvenience. They're part of life that is coming up rather than just, oh my goodness, I just wasn't prepared for that, right?
Yeah, the vast majority of the time, it's really not emergencies. They're just inconveniences, things that struggle with us. And Chris and I joke, and we share on these webinars about kind of the life we live. And to Chris's point, things go sideways, HVAC systems go down, and water heaters start leaking. And if you haven't been intentional to put some money aside as a line item in your budget to handle these quote-unquote emergencies, you really have, when they happen, you have no choice but to keep that bad behavior and that vicious cycle going and finance all that stuff at 18, 19, 20% or worse. All right, here's the big one. And many of you might have seen this, but today in America, 78% of people are living paycheck to paycheck. Okay, now to kind of Chris, I like how you frame this issue out, talking about those previous 11 years since the start of the Great Recession. Just share kind of quickly where this stat has gone over that previous 11 years.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, 78% of people, living paycheck to paycheck sounds like, it almost seems surreal. It doesn't even feel real, right? Well, back in the Great Recession period, again, just 10, 11 years ago, this number was actually at 70%. And I remember when I first came to work for Dave, Bill, you just came to work for Dave, I thought, man, that just feels like such a high number. This has grown by 8% during these good years that Bill was just talking about, how things are going so well now. We saw like a mini sample size of this just a few short months ago with the government shutdown. People were missing just one paycheck, not multiple, just one, and they were standing in line to feed their family. That's how we define paycheck to paycheck. If one thing happened to now 30 million more Americans in these last 10 years that are in this position, it's not good. It's not in a good spot. And those are the folks that we want to help.
Yeah, these are the folks that really don't have any margin in their finances. If anything at all goes sideways, they're sunk. And here's the other thing about 2019 America, and it's not a good thing. With the advent of social media and so forth, and people living these lives of comparison, is that you really don't know who's who. And a lot of people are living behind this mask of everything's okay, because again, on social media and so forth, all you're hearing about are the surprise vacations for the weekend to Destin, or the new car, or the new iPhone 10, or et cetera, et cetera. And what you're not seeing behind those smiley, happy faces are a lot of clenched jaw dinners, a lot of tossing and turning and crying at night because you're stressed out of your gourd over the state of your finances, a lot of husbands and wives at each other's throats and so forth. So that's really what's going on behind those smiling, happy faces that you see, okay? Now, at this point, I'm always real careful because I don't want to be accused of being Dr. Doom and just saying it's all ugly and nightmarish out there. It's serious and it's real. Everything I just went over is absolutely real. But here's the other side of the coin. It's really awesome. One of the greatest things about our team and the people that we coach and the coaches that we train, we get feedback from people every day that the light bulb is starting to go off. There are people, absolutely, a lot of them, frankly, that, as again, Dave says, are sick and tired of being sick and tired, are tired of being stressed out of their gourd over their finances. They're saying enough is enough. I don't want to live this way anymore, and are taking active steps to remedy that. And many of them are choosing to work with a Ramsey trained coach to help accelerate that process.
Yeah, good stuff there, Bill. All right, so why FCMT Online? Guys, as you just saw right there, that's really kind of the state of America. That's why our coaches exist. That really kind of answers the question, is coaching viable, right? Is there a need for coaching? And the answer is absolutely yes. So why FCMT Online? Why do we feel like it's a good program? Well, number one, we're a little biased. It's ours, right? And this training has been around, guys, for 19 years. This isn't something new that just came out. We've been coaching people for 25 years. This program has been going on for 19. This last year, we moved it 100% online, so people are able to come to it now. And we see coaches who go through our training, complete it in about 30 to 45 days, coming out really good. But here's the thing. People come to training and they look for training for 3 reasons. They're looking for confidence, they're looking for competence, and they're looking for credibility. I can't tell you how many people I've talked with who already work with folks. And I say, hey, why are you interested in the training? They say, I got this little thing in the back of my mind that just says, why should they listen to me? And I kind of feel the same way. And here's the cool part. This program helps you feel credible because, number one, you walk out of it with a great designation, our name on the back end of that. It's a good thing. Ultimately, what you're doing is leveraging the Ramsey Solutions globally trusted brand. Now, you may despise Dave or you may love Dave, but you definitely know who he is. New York Times bestselling publisher. You probably are most familiar with the book that we put out called The Total Money Makeover. Guys, it's been on that list for 16 straight years. Most authors would love to be on there for 3 or 4 weeks. I know I would. Okay. And so you got that. We have tons of personalities that you see on the news and you hear on different podcasts all over the country. Dave's podcast is number 4 in the entire planet with 200 million downloads. The radio station, number 3 in the United States with over 600 radio stations as well. When you think of the name Ramsey, it can be a little polarizing because we're pretty staunch on our approach, but people know who he is. When you think of personal finance, you think of Dave Ramsey. That's where that credibility comes from. That's where that confidence comes from because we don't waver. We don't bend to society. We set up these really good programs that say, listen, if you follow this, you're going to win. And people trust that and they win with those programs. As I mentioned a moment ago, we've been doing this for 25 years, and those 25 years are not coming from a high horse ivory tower saying we got it all figured out. As a matter of fact, over those 25 years, we bumped our head and knocked our knee many, many times, especially from a coaching perspective. We've learned how to say things. We've learned what paperwork to send. We've learned what not to do. And as Dave Ramsey would tell you, listen, if you want to be a millionaire, what do you need to do? Hang out with millionaires. If you want to be broke, hang out with broke people. Well, here's what I'm telling you today. If you want to be a good coach, hang out with our coaches. Because in those 25 years, guys, we've hired 7 coaches. Not 70, but just 7. And right now we have 3 on our staff, Lisa, Les, and Tim, and they're the best at what they do. Guys, if Dave Ramsey has a friend or a family member that needs coaching, that needs help with their personal finances, they meet with our coaching team. That's how much we trust them in our organization, and we trust them with our coaches that are trained all around the world. Access to our playbook and our coaching forms. I always get this question, hey, do we get the forms? Do we get things to help clients out? And a lot of times that question is rooted in, hey, do you give us these great, programs and apps and stuff like that people need? And here's the deal. People don't need apps. Have you ever walked in someone's house and seen a treadmill or a Bowflex with laundry hanging on it? That's somebody who believed a program was going to solve it, not their behavior. Our coaches, with the forms we give you, focus on the person's behavior. They're signing up for you because they want results, not a program. So the playbook and the program that we give you, that really helps you get the results that they need and helps change their behavior. Again, support from those Dave Ramsey coaches. Guys, I can't overemphasize how important it is for you to be around people who are winning as financial coaches. That's how you learn what to do. We call it standing on the shoulders of giants here. You're not starting from square one. Could you do that? Sure. But as Bill would always heard him say, why would you? Why would you go out and go through what we went through, that quarter century of learning, and try to figure it all out? That's why our team has put this together to really help you do that. The last part about that is being a part of a community of like-minded people. Guys, the people that we work with and the coaches that take our training share the same struggles, the same fears, and the same wins as you do. Sometimes when you're isolated, you forget that. We all do. But when you get around a group of people that are doing what you're doing, have been where you want to go, you can get massive strides in your personal and your professional careers if you want to. But guys, this is why FCMT Online has been so successful. And this is why you can be successful with this program. Again, solving the problems that we just went over. So as I've mentioned already, this program is 100% online. You don't have to travel to Nashville. You don't have to take time off from work. You don't have to wonder, what in the world am I going to do with these kids? All right. Anytime I want to go somewhere, I got to figure that problem out. I know exactly how you feel if you're a parent. But here's the thing. This program, with it being 100% online, is also 100% self-paced. You can go at your own pace during this program. Now, we see the average coach complete our training in about 30 to 45 days with just a few hours a week of focus on this program. It's 13 hours worth of video with some audio in there. We also do some development calls as well that allow you, again, to go at your own pace. Before we put this program online, people used to have to travel to Nashville, and they would take the same training in 2 to 3 days. Again, 30 to 45 days is the average right now. Here's another thing about with it being online. You can go back and watch the videos and listen to the audio as much as you want. You have 1 year full access to the training. That's something that we were able to add that we never could with an on-site training that people used to come to. I can't tell you how many people would be envious to be able to get just the audio recordings of now that you get the full program of. Here's the other side, guys. It doesn't matter where you live as long as you have internet access. We've had people from all over the world take our training because, again, we focus on behavioral finance, not where you live finance. Because you're a human being. We deal with human beings. That's our problem. Our problem isn't more knowledge. Our problem is better behavior. And a lot of people think, well, is it about selling investments or doing taxes or insurance? No, it's not. That's not what coaches do. They focus on those day-to-day pain points that Bill just went over. Living paycheck to paycheck, struggling with debt, no emergency fund, no plan for their future. That's what people struggle with, whether you live in England, whether you live in Curacao, Australia, Alabama, or California. That's the problem that people deal with, and that's what our program handles and deals with as well. We teach you how to help people with those problems. What type of background do you need? Very common question. Because most people believe that you have to have this crazy financial background. As a matter of fact, when someone asks me this and I'm on the phone with them, I'll usually challenge them and say, hey, real quick, what degree does Dave Ramsey have? Most people don't know, but they trust him. Why? Because what he gives them works. How he works with them works well as well. So here's the thing about the background. Dave Ramsey, between the ages of 18 and 22, got his insurance license, got a real estate license, got a degree from the University of Tennessee, and he also did investments from the age of 18 to 22. Well, if you know his story, he filed bankruptcy at 25. So what did the background do for him? It allowed him to file bankruptcy. That's about it. As a matter of fact, when he stands before an arena full of thousands of people, he generally leads out with, I did all that and I filed bankruptcy. And I stand before you today not because of my background. He doesn't self-orient from that standpoint. He doesn't focus on everything that he's done in his past. He actually says, listen, after I learned all that and after I went through bankruptcy, I'm sharing with you now what really works, the behavioral side of finances. That's why we have teachers, firefighters, pastors, church staff, stay-at-home moms, Navy SEALs, professional athletes. Yes, we have folks in the personal financial arena that come to our training. Real estate agents. By the way, did you know that the average real estate agent goes 3 months a year without a paycheck? We coach those folks. CPAs, they do taxes. We focus on the behavioral side. Financial advisors, they sell investments and insurance. We focus on debt elimination. It's different. Most financial advisors that I know that look into our training say people are coming to me because they need help with day-to-day pain points. They're not ready to invest yet. What in the world do I do with these folks? Well, you can learn how to become a coach. CPAs, same thing. That's why backgrounds don't matter. Again, if Dave Ramsey had never gone through all that and then filed bankruptcy, he wouldn't be doing what he's doing today. So he doesn't speak from a point of, here's what I learned at UT, and this is how I can help you. It's, hey, you know what? I filed bankruptcy, and now I know how to handle my finances. So the background, guys, just doesn't matter. So what does matter? What makes a great financial coach? And guys, if you're taking notes, and again, we are recording this, so you can come back and listen to it later, but what does make a great coach? And I can promise you this, I've told people as early as this morning, you don't have this thing, I recommend you not take this training. The first is the heart of a teacher. You have to want to see people win with their finances. Again, I'm going to shock you real quick, but Dave Ramsey doesn't have to work anymore. But he has this crusader mentality that he wants to see people win with money the same way he does. And then, listen, if you look at somebody and they're not winning with their finances, you would kind of crawl over whatever you have to do. Go, hey, listen, I know a better way. You don't have to live like this. And part of this is putting on what we call your coaching ears. In the mornings, I'll walk around the neighborhood with one of my buddies. And listen, he said the other day, he goes, man, I'm not going to be able to go on vacation this year. Before I knew about coaching, I would have been like, oh, that kind of stinks, and then just went on with my day. But the coaching ear looks at him and says, well, really, why? What's going on? Well, finances. Well, tell me more. And they keep delving down deeper in to find the root issue that someone's dealing with to help them solve it. That's the heart of a teacher. The other side of it is the willingness to learn. Once you go through our training, that's fantastic. You're going to have everything you need to help somebody, but it shouldn't never stop there. Coach Wooden said, listen, it's what you learn after you know it all. Again, I'm going back to self-orientation. Just because you have a degree in finance, just because you're a CPA, or just because you're a financial advisor, doesn't mean that you got it all figured out when it comes to behavioral finances. Because I've met people that have none of that are amazing coaches. And I've met people that have more degrees than a thermometer that I wouldn't let coach my 7-year-old. The willingness to learn is huge, guys. You have to read, you have to learn your dialect, you have to learn how to help people where they are. The last part about that is the desire to help people in a bad position, because it's being a part of something that's greater than yourself. And that's what Dave Ramsey's all about. Because again, guys, think about what coaches deal with. The number one cause of divorce in America is money fights. Stress, anxiety, worry, family legacies. People who have no clue what to do with their kids as they're heading off to college because they've never prepared. And the only reasonable option that at least they see is to take out a student loan. These are the type of uphill battles that coaches fight with people, not by themselves, but with people that are struggling right there. So you have to have the heart of a teacher. You have to have the willingness to learn, and you have to have the desire to be a part of something greater than yourself. Those three things, guys, if you're thinking, what would it take? Those are the three things we say it would take. All right. So once you wrap up the training, what do people go do? Why in the world would I take this, and what can I do after the fact? Well, number one, you can never take this training and go do anything you want with financial coaching. But here's what coaches who take our training go do. They launch a ministry. This is where they work with, we call him Pastor Bob on this call, right? Uh-huh. Pastor Bob gets phone call, and he gets tons of people asking him for help. I just talked with our Momentum team, which works with massive mega churches, the largest church in the world. Their pastor called in this morning and said, how do I get better equipped to help people with money questions? Because they're coming to me in droves. His church runs 100,000 people a week. Now think about that, guys. If that's happening there, what's happening at your church and your community? That's the reality. Launching that ministry to be able to mitigate those issues that are coming in, because that 78% doesn't stop at the church door. Sometimes it goes up of the people living paycheck to paycheck. Launching that ministry is a big deal. The second thing we see people do is they launch a coaching ministry. They launch a coaching business. This is where people choose to charge for their coaching services. Again, let's go back to the problems that they solve. Divorce, stress, anxiety, worry. And now the first thing that most people think when they see this is, hang on a second, how in the world do you charge broke people for coaching? And sometimes they substitute broke for poor. Well, guys, there is no poor in America. Pull up any image on Google of any city in America and then pull up Calcutta, India. That's poor. One of them's broke. One of them's poor. Did you know that the average American right now spends about $697 a month on frivolous things like going out to eat, like Netflix, like Spotify? Basically everything in the last decade that we've brought into our lives that are now called necessities that 10 years ago, again, didn't exist. We now have to have them. Average cable bill in America right now is $157. And I love the cable cutters, right? I'm one of them. Bill, I think you're one of them. Too. But here's the thing. There's still 300 million households that are paying for cable every month. Here's the thing that I have learned in 10 years of working with Dave Ramsey. with people all over the country is this. Number one, people have the money, period. People will spend their time, money, and resources on what they believe to be most important. As a matter of fact, if we really want it bad enough, we'll go into debt to get it. We don't care. That's where people are. And when people are sick and tired of being sick and tired, to cut off cable and not know who won the game on Tuesday night or who got the rose on Monday night or who got voted off the island on Thursday night, when they're tired of that and they want to get on the same page with their spouse, they'll cut off cable and invest that with a financial coach. And we see people doing that in droves. So launching a coaching business is key. Now, last thing I'll say on this, the average coach right now charges between $100 and $200 a session. And a session, guys, is about an hour. And the most clients meet with a coach on average 3 to 6 sessions. Okay. The last part about this is we see people who do this just for personal and professional development. They create that confidence and competence while helping other folks out. We see banks send their bank managers through this. We see the Border Patrol send Border Patrol folks through this. The military sends people through this. Just learning how to work with people better because they know that money touches every single thing, and they need to know how to help people with the behavioral root issues that they're dealing with. Bill?
Yeah, so let's talk about what's actually included in the training. So Financial Coach Master Training, you might hear Chris and I abbreviate that to FCMT. We're prone to do that, okay? It's really an interactive, virtual, online experience that's going to help teach you how to coach others the full gamut from crisis to retirement. Now, the other thing I want to point out is we recognize our audience. We know the vast majority of the folks that take our training are busy, active adults. And so we from the ground up, we build FCMT Online to account for that. What I'm saying is that we broke it up into smaller bite-sized pieces. So whether you have 30 minutes at lunch or in the morning or on Saturday, you can sit down and methodically work your way through the training. You're never in a position where you have to strap in for 3 or 4 hours straight of training, okay? Now, again, what's included in the training? It's a dashboard with over 13 hours of engaging coaching videos led by Chris Hogan and Dave Ramsey. These 13 hours really act as the core or the foundation of the program. Now, I'm not going to take even a second to credentialize Dave Ramsey. Come on, Bill, all right? And many of you on this webinar possibly are familiar with Chris Hogan. If you're not, though, I do want to take a moment to talk about Chris. He is not a talking head. He's not an actor. Number one, Chris references those coaches that we've had over that 25 years. Hogan, as we call him, he's a good friend of ours, was one of those coaches. He was a coach on our team for 10 years. He's done thousands of sessions, sat kneecap to kneecap with people, so he actually knows what he's talking about. Yeah, he's also a New York Times #1 best-selling author. Yeah, he's on Fox and Friends. Yeah, corporate America pays Hogan big bucks to come out and speak with their leadership team. But before all of that and during all of that, Hogan was a world-class financial coach on our team, and he and Dave Ramsey together are really the stewards of that 13 hours, the foundation of the program. Now, let me tell you really quickly about how we kind of comprise the program, how we put it together. And if you can kind of see ahead where I'm going here, yeah, I'm going to use the old cliche house analogy, okay? Number one, because it's really good and it actually works well in this scenario. So when we put the program together on purpose, we were really thoughtful of how we structured those 13 lessons. And so like building a house, building a world-class training plan is we're going to start with the foundation. So we're going to lay the groundwork with 4 awesome lessons. We're going to talk about things like coaching process and different coaching models, all those things that we've learned over that 25 years, so you can then take them and run with them as is, or modify them slightly, or ignore them, frankly. But we're going to tell you, again, what we've done and how we've done it. We're going to talk about getting to the root of the financial issue, really understanding what are you facing here? What are you talking about? Is this an emotional issue? Is this a psychological issue, and so forth? We're going to talk about helping you coach different personality styles and recognize it. That's lesson 4. It's one of my personal favorites in the whole program. It's less about your personality style and more about understanding and recognizing somebody else's personality style so you can meet them in the middle. Once we've laid a good foundation, we're going to get up into the quote-unquote crisis modules. You know, the scary stuff. I'll tell you, again, this student loan debacle that's happening in real time in front of us, bankruptcy, foreclosures, dealing with collectors, it's serious stuff. You have to be well-grounded and know what you're talking about. But once you do really get, as I say, get a peek behind the curtain, it stops becoming scary and just becomes something that you have to be able to deal with. From there, we're going to weave a couple lessons in on future planning, estate planning and retirement insurance. Once we have those three phases of the house in order, we're going to finish off by talking about launching your coaching practice, making really good intentional decisions. It is super, super important for our team, for Dave Ramsey himself, that you take this training. Once you're done, you get out there in your neck of the woods, wherever that is, and launch that coaching ministry. Go down to the women's shelter and help those women budget coach. Do the prison ministry. Start up that side coaching business and so forth. So again, this is how we've laid out the program. And again, the feedback that we're receiving is that we're hitting the mark.
Right. And guys, these are the actual lessons of the training. This is what we go over in the training as well. And, to Bill's point, it's natural. Everybody's like, well, how do I market? Well, how do I find people? Gaining the context of what you provide, right? What's your solution to their problem? And how you market is you have a problem. Well, what's your solution to that? That's what you're finding out and learning and figuring out how to solve.
Yeah, and Chris is going to talk to you about this. This is the foundation of the course. Around this core foundation, we weave all kinds of engaging touch points and interaction points with our team and the people that you're going through the training with together. And it's those two things working in concert, the core 13 lessons with all the stuff circling around it, the engagements and the touch points that make the thing a winning program.
Absolutely. And some people call that a blended learning, right? So yes, you do. You get to do live chats with our coaches. So those videos, again, are self-paced. I think the average lesson or module is about 11 minutes. So again, you're not going to be overwhelmed. But getting to do live chats with our Ramsey coaches, those three coaches, even if they're not here, it fires off a really good email to them and says, hey, how can you help me better understand what I just went through? Now, the second bullet point is probably the most crucial. Interactive group coaching calls with our coaches. These are 4 50-minute group calls. They're 5 to 7 coaches plus one of our expert coaches on there, breaking down the content. Now, each one of these calls, you can see a full 30-day calendar that works with any schedule. Remember that laundry list of people I put up in front of you? Those people are teachers, Navy SEALs, professional athletes, really professionals at what they're already doing, their busy schedules, they're able to do this. Our Navy SEAL friend took this training on the Arctic Circle, guys. Okay, hello, right? These interactive group coaching calls really help you break down what you're learning. They give you additional insight into the content, allow you to ask questions. You get to do role plays. This is where we see the rubber meet the road in addition to the videos as well. But these exercises help you learn, practice, and validate what you're walking through. Now, we also do these bonus Q&A sessions we call Real Talk with Coaches. When we first launched the program, we used to do 1 hour of these a month. This is where we'd schedule a call, do a topic, do a big Q&A, very, very highly rated. We actually just doubled down, and now we're doing these every 2 weeks. So when you register for the course, again, you have a year full access to this. Now there's 24 more hours of additional Q&A, focused content time. The other day, they did a great coaching call on fear of finding people, fear of saying the wrong thing, fear of not knowing the answer, fear of just starting to coach somebody, fear. And the coaches really broke that down and spent time doing Q&A, and we got so much feedback from that. So these topics are not just investments. There's a whole other mental side of coaching outside of just doing tactically. We can teach you all day long about knowledge and actions, but if we don't help you change your belief systems, sounds just like how you work with a coaching client, by the way, you're not going to win long term. That's why we surround these things with that. We also load this training up with tons, I think it's over $400 worth of bonus items, Financial Peace University Online. So if you haven't been through that yet, guess what? You're going to go through it, right? You can have it. It's 1 year full access to that as well. If you have been through it, go back through it again or gift that to someone else if you want to. Simple Will, Disc Test, Every Dollar Plus, ebooks, and more. Basically, the way this works is as you go through our program, you unlock these items. The phrase is, the more you learn, the more you earn, and we want to load this thing up with some good stuff. I've said this a few times, probably because I get a lot of good questions on it. Mm-hmm. Again, we see the average coach complete our training in about 30 to 45 days with just a few hours a week of walking through the content. However, you have 1 year full access to the training that, again, plenty of time to walk through all the content and learn what you need to. And you can even go back in to the program and watch and do the quizzes and test as much as you want. Because after each lesson, there is a quiz, there are tests. So there's many quizzes and tests that are pulse checking your knowledge. But guys, access to the videos, team chat, coaching forms, and the bonus material, all 1 year full access. Even after the year, though, you retain access to all the coaching forms and bonus material because guess what? We want you to keep coaching. And I'll share with you in a second how you can do additional time in the training if you want to do that as well. Once you complete it, you do earn a designation of a Ramsey Solutions Master Financial Coach. You also get a really great certificate as well that you can print out, put in your office. You can use that designation on your email signature, any kind of marketing material you want to create. That is the designation that aligns you with our team here. It says, hey, that's that credibility piece. I know what I'm talking about. These people have trained me. This is where I'm coming from. Now, Bill, if you don't mind, tell the group a little bit about what other folks are saying and sending back to us.
Yeah, we launched the current format of FCMT in January of last year, and since then we've put couple 4,000 people through the program. Get a lot of good feedback, a lot of good survey results from those folks. Just real quickly, wanted to share with you too. Becky C and John, they're both scary people. Becky's a stay-at-home mom. John's a bankruptcy attorney. Actually, you can and along with that Navy SEAL, probably 3 of the scariest people that we know. Really good folk, and again, you can I'm not going to read Becky's comments. You can see it right from there. But she has a busy, crazy schedule with her kids and her family life. John, again, is a bankruptcy attorney out west. He's an experienced bankruptcy attorney. This is just a little thread of a long email that he sent us that Dave actually read at one of our staff meetings. And basically the bottom line is John said once he took our training, he said it was going to fundamentally change the way that he practices bankruptcy law. And that just blew us away, right? So we are getting really good feedback from the folks that are going through it. They're finding value, and they're actually getting out there and using it.
Right, absolutely. So as I mentioned a moment ago, how in the world do you, if you want ongoing access after the year, and another natural question that we always get is, hey, can you guys ever help us find people, And here's the answer. The ultimate answer is yes. We have a great program called our Ramsey Preferred Coach program that focuses on community, development, and supplemental referrals. And this program is fantastic, guys. We get enough questions about it. We wanted to bring it up in front of you here, but only people who go through our training are eligible for this. Again, you get unlimited access to FCMT Online as a part of that. We do great development calls on sales, marketing, networking, all that stuff. We have one of the best coaching Facebook groups in the world. I mean, these coaches love helping each other and working with each other. Yes, you get that unique listing on DaveRamsey.com, and then also a new listing form called Ask a Coach that's also an FPU, Every Dollar, places like that. This program is $99 a month. It allows you to be a part of ongoing development with our team, get referrals with our team, things like that. Again, do a lot of development with our team after the training. So we'll give you a full-on webinar after this. After you complete the training, after you complete the 13th lesson, you're prompted to watch a whole nother webinar. We have a great application and interview process for you to be listed on Dave Ramsey. We put a lot of time and effort into that. That's why we have a whole nother process. But one more time, this is after the training. You can be a part of this if you want to be. It's $99. We have a whole nother webinar once the training is over that allows you to be a part of this. That's $99 a month. All right, there you go. So, guys, that is the full training, and that's even the post-optional piece that you can do if you choose to. So you're probably thinking, okay, well, how do I get started, or how do I learn more? Well, number one, we're going to be sending out a detailed email here in about an hour. As I mentioned, we are recording this. We're about to do a big Q&A, so you want to listen in on that, and we're going to do a giveaway. But we're going to send an email out that kind of details everything you need to know, how you can get started and get the ball rolling. If you want to see kind of a written version of this, or maybe want to try to figure out another way to sign up, if you go to fcmtonline.com, you can actually see all the lessons broken down. We have 2 to 3 sentences on each one. I got a few testimonials on there, things like that. You can go on there and see that as well. The normal price of our training is $17.95. That covers the full year. Again, people who used to come to our on-site trainings just 2 years ago would spend well more than $17.95 and do this for 2 or 3 days. Not anymore. Now you have a year's full access. Well, here's the thing. As I mentioned, April is Financial Literacy Month. So one of the things that we're doing this month, if you use the promo code SPRINGCOACH, That'll give you $175 off the training. So that makes it $1,620. Now, here's the deal. We don't have unlimited enrollments in a month's time. This month, we started out with 100.
At the beginning of the month.
At the beginning of the month.
Yep.
What's today? The 18th?
Yep.
We're at 29 enrollments left for the rest of the month. So using the promo code SPRINGCOACH is going to give you $175 off for 29 of those final enrollments. One last bonus item that we're giving out this month is a Colonel Littleton leather portfolio. Now, he's a gentleman from Linville, Tennessee that makes handmade leather products, heirloom quality. Mm-hmm. He's been on Dave Ramsey's show. If you've ever seen him, he's got the massive handlebar mustache and the Indiana Jones hat and all that mess. Amazing products. Our team carries the regular leather portfolio. Yeah. When I say regular, it's not like the Buffalo one.
we do this a couple times a year. We include the Colonel Littleton portfolio. I will tell you that when we do that, consistently, we'll get a phone call or an email from a bunch of people a week or two later saying, holy mackerel, this is not what I expected.
Yeah.
In their minds, and we understand it, they were expecting maybe a slightly gussied up version of something that you get at Office Max or whatever.
Staples.
Or Staples. That ain't this. Okay, yeah. This is the real deal. It smells awesome, handmade, and it literally is something that you can pass down from generation to generation, I promise you.
So again, with that promo code SPRINGCOACH and those 29 enrollments, you get $175 off. The normal price is $17.95, so it makes it $16.20. Plus, you get one of those. Now, here's the way that'll work, guys. Once all the orders are in, the first week of May, we're going to place the order with them, get those made and shipped out to you. Okay.
Yep.
So that's what it looks like right now. So let's do some Q&A. I'm going to put my contact info up right here during the Q&A. So if you have some questions that we don't get to today, or you have any questions that you want to maybe further explanation on, I'm going to put my contact info. Call me, shoot me an email, whatever that may look like. As a matter of fact, our winners, how you're going to collect your items right after the Q&A, shoot me an email with the best email and contact info so we can get your information out to you as well.
All right. I've been scanning down the list. I've seen a couple questions on this, and they're on the topic of multiple enrollment discounts. In other words, is there a spousal discount? If I buy two or more, is there a discount? The answer is yes. Again, Chris, explain it on the drop-down menu on two or more real quick.
Yes. So basically, whenever you go to FCMT online or that email we're going to send you in a little bit, it'll go right to a store page, okay? On that store page, if you put quantity 2 and then click the word update, it's going to give you a substantial discount on 2 enrollments. And we see spouses do it. We also see best friends do it. We also see churches do it for multiple people. So it's not just a spousal discount, but it's two enrollments on the same invoice will give you a substantial discount right now as well.
Yeah, seeing some really good questions. Thank you for your kind comments, Belinda. We appreciate that. Happy Easter as well. A couple questions on payment plans. Again, it's a natural question. We get it almost every webinar. We don't offer a payment plan for this. From our perspective, if we took payments, you would owe us money, and we would be the biggest phonies on planet Earth, right? We're not going to make this an infomercial of 5 easy payments.
Nope.
If you want to do this and you don't have the money put aside, completely cool. Just save up for it when you're ready to get going. Give my buddy here, Chris, a call. He'll help you get started.
Yep, absolutely. Carrie said, hey, would you recommend doing this before becoming a financial advisor or afterwards? Well, so they do two totally different things. You know, if you had a head injury, you wouldn't go to a dermatologist, even though they're a doctor, because they're a different kind of doctor. Financial advisors sell investments and insurance. Financial coaches do day-to-day pain points. I generally do not recommend this for new financial advisors. Your broker-dealer wants you selling investments and insurance at a very high rate. And this would be a detractor if you became
once you're established, it can be a really good option.
Sure.
Here's a good question where I just lost it I want to give credit to the I'm sorry. I'll think of it in a second. The name, but the question is, can you tell us more about starting a coaching ministry is the question. Tim, that's you, Tim. So it's very common for somebody to take the training. And again, to be that resource at your church. Again, I promise you, Pastor Bob is busy. Okay. And if he had a quality, confident Ramsey trained coach at his disposal to be able to send people to, that would be a really cool thing, right? Mm-hmm. For Pastor Bob and for the person that you're coaching. People take this training and literally go down to women's shelters and help them create budgets. They do prison ministries and so forth. So yeah, there's all kinds of opportunity to leverage this training out in your community for nonprofit purposes.
Yep. Amy says, hey, what's the best place to host your coaching sessions if you're working out of your home?
Great question.
You don't do coaching sessions in your home.
Yep.
You don't go to their home. A lot of our coaches nowadays are using Zoom coaching calls, so you can share paperwork. You can actually hang up and jump right into another call right away.
We call it virtual coaching. It's fantastic.
You can still see all the nonverbal cues. Husband and wife can still meet on there at the same time. Even if they're in separate locations, they can do that. If you don't want to choose to do it that way, you can always meet at a Panera Bread, a Starbucks, a library. You can meet at a church. Different places like that are always ideal. Some of our coaches who do this full time, many of our coaches that do this full time, meet in Panera Bread, Starbucks, or use Zoom.
Yeah, Tim on our team, before he joined our team, had a really thriving coaching business here in Nashville. They knew his name at Panera. He was in there so much, right?
Yep.
Said it worked out fine. People are busy eating. You'd be surprised how easy it is to do business in example, Panera Bread. It could be somewhere else as well.
Yep. Valerie says, hey, did you say this was a self-paced training? It is 100% self-paced. Again, we see the average coach complete it in about 30 to 45 days, but you have a year's full access to it, so you have plenty of time to knock that out.
All right, here's a good question from Maurice. Do you have to be debt-free to become a coach, Chris?
Yeah, I saw Claire just ask that same question. So here's the thing. You do not have to be debt-free. It's a massive misconception you have to be debt-free to work for Dave Ramsey. Matter of fact, our HR team has worked really hard. Guys, we're almost at 900 employees now. Mm-hmm. Worked really hard to kind of break that mold. As a matter of fact, one of the 7 coaches that we hired on our team had 6 figures in debt, paid it all off, set up a plan. That's the key thing. Do you have a plan to pay off your debt? A lot of people say, well, it's kind of hypocritical to have debt if you're going to coach people. No, it's hypocritical to have debt with no plan and try to teach somebody a plan that you're not following. That's hypocrisy. Okay. So yes, you can, but you got to have a plan and you got to make sure that you're knocking out that plan, because the most motivated people are on a plan to pay off their debt. They tell everybody about it because their life's just different right then, and they're really good. So
yeah, here's a good question from Robert. I'm just going to paraphrase. It's about liability and risk and so forth. It's a natural question, Robert. We get it all the time. All I can tell you is that we've been doing this for 25 years for Dave's team, and we do not have errors and omission insurance or liability insurance. Mm-hmm. The entire key is that you stay in your lane. Again, if you drift out of your lane and you get over into recommending insurance or investments or whatever, you're going to get in trouble. We're talking about helping people get on a budget. We're talking about helping people get out of debt, okay? We're talking about people make good decisions with their money. If you stay in your lane, like we have been doing for a quarter of a session, you're good.
Mm-hmm. Charles asked a question. Hey, do you think you need to create like an LLC or something like that?
Same version of the question.
Yeah, same version of that. You can.
You can.
If you choose to. You pay taxes different. Sole proprietor, DBA, doing business as. You can consult with a CPA, or you can go to LegalZoom today and read up on that, on how that works. The cost is a little bit different. We have coaches that do have LLCs. We have coaches that have sole proprietors. We have coaches that do DBAs, doing business as well. So that's a really good question. This is a really good question from Marissa. Let's see here. How would you market this in the church? Well, number one, let's just talk about marketing in general, okay? So marketing is one of those things, and one of my buddies gave me this phrase. He said, listen, if I can describe your problem better than you can, you'll naturally assume I have an answer to that problem. Marketing is about exposing a problem and then coming in with a solution. Most people try to say, how do I get my name out there? No, wrong. How do you get the problem out there that you solve that now they assume, oh my goodness, that person can help me with this? That's the way that works. Marketing makes people thirsty. It doesn't make people buy a drink. It gets them thirsty, then you help them buy the drink. You are the drink.
Yeah, here's a question about is the program mobile friendly? Good question. The answer is absolutely yes. We actually built the FCMT Online mobile first. It looks fantastic on an iPhone, also looks fantastic and works on Android devices, tablets, perfect. It's also great on a desktop as well. So wherever you are, the point is, whether it's a park bench or Saturday morning in your den or anywhere in between, all you have to have is some sort of device and internet access, and you can methodically work your way through the program. Great question.
Yep, absolutely. Let's see here.
Couple more.
Yeah. Angela said, hey, is the $99 a year access full access, or do you have to have a certain level? So it's $99 a month, not $99 a year. And you have full access to everything at that point. There are no levels inside of that. It's a really, really good
Here's
question.
a good question. The essence of the question is there anything on the back end to buy or any hooks on the back end? And again, we always chuckle. It's a really good question. If I'm you out there, I'm probably asking this question as well. Let me answer this as succinctly as I can. There are no back end hooks. There is no nothing to buy on the back end. Again, if you want to be part of Ramsey Preferred Coach, we've said that up front. That's an option for some of you, and we've told you what that looks like. But there are no back end gotchas. By the way, if you plan on charging for coaching, every red cent that you charge is yours to keep. This isn't some sort of affiliate program or franchise program. We support you from Nashville when you make that happen.
Yep. Last two questions, and we'll do the giveaways, guys. What type of support and resources do we have after the year access to the training? Well, resources, you have access to the resources tab and all the bonus material and coaching forms. You never lose access to those. Those are going to, even after the year. You want support after the first year, you would be a part of the Ramsey Preferred Coach program. Again, 100% optional. You don't have to do it. Great program to do if you do choose. Mindy asked this last one, how much do you recommend charging for your services? Kind of like I mentioned earlier, the average coach out there charges about $100 to $200 per session. Some will charge more, some will charge less. That's just the vast majority of coaches. Most clients are met with, on average, 3 to 6 times. Some only meet 1 hour. Some will meet more than that. And the way we define a session, guys, is generally a 1 hour meeting. Okay? All right. So let's see here. Let's do that giveaway. Before I do that, let me say this last thing here, guys. Listen. We're heading into Easter weekend. It's going to be a really big time. And you guys have taken an hour out of your day to learn more about Financial Coach Master Training. And I can promise you, off the comments, a lot of you folks are fired up about it, and we celebrate that with everything. There's also going to be a group of people, though, that are going, I don't know if I like Chris. I definitely don't like his accent, and I'm not sure about Bill. And that's okay. Okay? We're okay with that. Because here's the thing. If you'll know something about our company and our coaching team is this. We never force someone against their will. As Dave would say, his grandma said, listen, if you're forced against your will, you're of the same opinion still. We're never in that business. This may not be for you, and we're okay with that. We can be friends, both still go to heaven, and have a good time. My advice to you is 2 things. First things first, find out what you're supposed to go do, and go do that with everything you got. Don't waste another minute listening to my hillbilly voice. Okay? Number 2, if this isn't for you, and you do find out what you got, make sure and pull as many people into that as you can. That's what our coaches do. Our coaches look at this and they go, you got to know more about this. You got to learn about this. This changes your life. Make sure what you're doing is changing people's lives. Because if you don't believe that, go listen to the show today, to the amount of people that become debt-free, the people that experience freedom of all kinds of crazy levels in their marriages, and their finances, and their futures, their retirement, and their kids' lives. That's what coaches do. So if you want to do that with us, come on. If it's not for you, please go find out what it is and go do that with everything you got. We understand. We'll never force you into it. All right, let's do the giveaways, guys. So I told you we give away 2 things. Number 1, FCMT Online, 1 year free full access. And then we're also going to give away Financial Peace University leader material as well. So the person who won the FPU leader material, that all you need to do is shoot me an email. Give us your contact info and we'll get you out that information, is Angela M. Angela M. You are the winner of Financial Peace University leader material, so you can lead a Financial Peace University class. If you become a coach, we encourage you to lead Financial Peace University. Why would you not? These people want help with their finances. Coaches make fantastic coordinators. The last part about that is FCMT Online. FCMT Online. Who is the winner of that? That person is Kim S. Kim S. You are the winner of Financial Coach Master Training Online. Shoot me an email with the best email you want to register for the course with and activate with. We'll fire that out to you right away. So guys, again, thank y'all so much for your time today. Have a great Good Friday. Have a fantastic Easter. And I hope to see you join the training in April. Thanks. Have a good day.